100% than I've ever been. You know what I'm saying? I feel. Yeah, I'd have to say, you know, it's probably going to be hard to say that I'm 100%. You know, most fighters probably actually don't walk into the ring at 100%. To be honest, you know, in the fight game, you know, it's grueling. Sometimes even trying to be 100%, depending on losing your weight and certain things, by the time you end up in the ring, you still end up just a tad bit short, 95%. Or 95% is, it can feel like 100% to the opponents, you know. Like Danny Garcia didn't know I had an elbow problem. This guy talking about some ring rust and my mentality coming back. What about my mentality when I'm injured and I'm fighting? And I actually don't want to throw the punch because I'm about to hurt myself. What about that psychological battle? You know, where, you know, so I fought my psyche like a 1,000 times over. I've been through trials and tribulations. I've taken hits and not gone down. I've done everything in the sport, you know what I mean? So just getting back, I feel good. I feel excited, you know? And, you know, regardless of if I'm 100%, I wasn't 100% last time. We still going to go in there and be champs. We still going to be Keith Thurman.
Keith, how does it feel to overcome those struggles of injury and finally be 100% coming into this fight?
Oh, it feels good. That's why I mentioned, like, lifting weights and things of that nature. You know, with bone spurs, I couldn't hit the heavy bag. With bone spurs, I couldn't do pull-ups. I couldn't do push-ups, you know? So I feel a lot better. And my hand had me worried about my left hook. Now my hand's secure. I'm hitting the heavy bag. It feels good. We're not having problems. When we hit our sparring partners, there is no pain. I don't have to ice it down. So I'm more confident today than I was before.
Do you feel like the casual fans don't give you enough credit, knowing that you beat 2 of the top 3 or 5 welterweights in Danny Garcia and Sean Porter? Do you think they forget that you're the only man?
I mean, you know, I'm the only person that did it back to back, you know? Like, a lot of people aren't fighting fighters within the top 5 back to back, you know? And, you know, just because I did it don't mean everybody needs to start doing it either, you know? I did what I wanted to do. I did what I was comfortable doing. And I'm really grateful that I chose to do that, because if I would have took an in-between fight and I didn't fight Danny Garcia, I most likely would have came to the knowledge of my bone spurs, and I would have had to have surgery and thus never fighting a Danny Garcia. So for me, you know, everything happens for a reason. It's almost like a blessing in disguise. And when we're out, but the record stays the same. Keith Thurman's still Keith Thurman. Nobody's touched him. Undefeated record. And the world wants to know what's going to happen when he comes back. That's why we're here. That's what 2019 is all about. Just stay tuned. Just watch your boy. I'm back in action.
Regardless of the outcome, the next fight that you have, would you like to be on pay-per-view like the other fighters, like Spence and the Broners in the world that are being broadcast on pay-per-view? Is that what's next for you?
You know, I'm not sure about those topics. You know, if anything, you know, the argument could have been, you know, was Thurman Garcia a pay-per-view worthy fight? You know, should that have been a pay-per-view? What kind of money could I have made? Blah blah blah. That's all in the past. Fuck that. You know. So we just keep moving forward in life, man. And January 26th, and we got to see how boxing evolves. There's so much happening in the sport of boxing today. You know, a lot of new things are developing, man. So another thing too is, what's the details about the Mikey Garcia Spence fight? Yeah, it's pay-per-view, but what kind of pay-per-view? People aren't used to Fox pay-per-view.
Of course.
You know, is this a $25 pay-per-view? Is this a $50 pay-per-view? Is this another $80 pay-per-view? What kind of pay-per-view is it? How many buys do they get? You know, we know Spence is a champ. We know Mikey's a champ. We know they both have a following. How many people are really going to come out of pocket for the fight? I think it's a tremendous fight. I think it's worth whatever they charge. You know, but that's me. That's not everybody, and not everybody has in their pocket what I got in my pocket. So, you know, it's up for debate whether or not they want to do it. Go watch at a wing house. Go sit on a buddy's couch who can't help but not to buy it. You know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. That's why my philosophy in this sport and how I got to the top is just one step at a time. We keep moving forward. But whomever I fight, whenever I fight them, you know what I mean? I'm just going to be very methodical. I'm going to be stronger, faster, and smarter, baby.
You said you're the #1 heavyweight. Who would you say would be the other two to complete the top 3, like behind you?
Number one heavyweight. I hope
No,
not.
I mean,
What's your weight on? What's your weight on, Keith?
I hope not. I hope not. I'll take a heavyweight paycheck, but I don't. Then I will be run time, boy. I will run. It will be sprint time. Okay? Yes, sir.
Who's your top three behind you at welterweight? My bad.
I mean, Errol Spence and everything else. Keep Thurman number one, Errol Spence number two, and everything else is debatable, man. I've said it many times. I don't give Bud Crawford any credit at 147 yet. He hasn't gotten any credentials off of me. I made the statement that the boy hasn't even fought an Amir Khan, and all of a sudden they're acting like they want to fight Amir Khan. I mean, that's a fight years ago on Amir's side, he was a 140 pounder, so at the end of the day, but I still like that fight for Crawford. When it comes to competing in the welterweight division, he's done nothing, I mean, there's, because I was saying, what's the Horn, I was saying that I think Amir Khan would beat Jeff Horn, so at the end of the day, I just let him beat Amir Khan, let him beat somebody else, I don't know. I just don't believe in a number three. So because a lot of people are gonna want to put Bud there, but then my thing is, it ain't like he beat Sean Porter. Sean Porter actually might be number three. I always said Sean Porter is ultimately like top five. He's never. I don't think he's gonna leave the top five. It's gonna be really hard unless we get proven wrong with Ugas. Ugas can slide in. You know what I'm saying, with a victory over Sean. So that's why I don't really care, man. And I really don't care if you consider me number 1, 2, 3, or anything, man. At the end of the day, you can't put me lower than 3. What are you gonna do? Put 2 names above me, and you're gonna have some of your peers looking at you sideways, anyways? Like, I don't care, man. All that I care about is training, staying healthy, getting back in the ring, getting back on TV. Fox, this thing with Fox is a big thing. We're gonna have a lot of eyes, a lot of viewers, and just being the undefeated champion of the world, man. And just providing exciting fights for the sport of boxing. Not only am I good at my job, but I think I'm one of the best and most entertaining fighters in the sport of boxing today. You got 12 different weight classes, but there's not that many people that really stand out, and that's all that I'm trying to do in this division is stand out. I'm not afraid to let it go. If you beat me, then we're gonna know Keith Thurman's not number 1. Now he actually is number 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, even if I was number 3, if let's just say Terence Crawford and Errol Spence beat Keith Thurman, number 3, I still have an opportunity to have a beautiful career. See, that's what you guys really don't understand. When you have blood, sweat, and tears, and you worked as hard as I worked to do what I do, you just want to be in the ring. You just want to be a part of the action. Look at the beautiful career Adrian Broner's had. He's had a beautiful career, and he's not the best fighter in the world. So I'm here with my career. You are witnessing my career. I just don't want to be the average fighter. I want to be legendary, and that's what we're trying to do.
Keith, when you talk about legendary, you mentioned about Manny Pacquiao. Is that going to be one of, let's say, I don't want to say regret, but one of the letdowns if you never get that fight, knowing that he's still in the game and also...
I mean, not having Floyd, not having Manny, they're both letdowns to a degree. I mean, I rose to the top of the welterweight division pretty quick, and yet I didn't get a piece of that action, and I really wanted a piece of that action. And I probably was premature at that time, and who knows what happened with that action, but at least I wanted a piece. And so if I can get a piece before Manny gets away, I'm going to thank God for that, you know what I mean? Because he's a legend. He has a big fan base. It'd be good for my brand notoriety and just another notch on the belt, ex-multiple champion Manny Pacquiao. But at the end of the day, we're just here doing our best, man, trying to reunify, like I said, separate myself from my competition, and then just add to the collection.
How big is that? You and A&B will make some for some good press conferences.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I'm not. See, that's funny, man. Like, I'm not that interested. But if he starts running his mouth and seeing, depending on what happens, see, that's the real talk is once when I'm back. Yes, I want my belt. Every other fight is negotiable, man. it's negotiable. We can negotiate. Who wants to negotiate?
In terms of pound for pound status, Mikey Garcia was another fighter who was on the shelf for a while. He said he needed that time off to reflect and actually get back into loving boxing again. Does that process flow through your mind that you can take the same Mikey Garcia route and jump right back in? And did you need that time off?
No, I didn't need that time off. I needed that time off because I was injured. You know what I mean? There's a big difference.
Yeah.
I don't know what made him have his time off. You know what I mean? My time off was physical. If I was physically prepared, I would not have enjoyed being inactive for that long. I mean, fighting once in a year and then fighting around the next year, that's enough freaking time in itself. You know what I mean? 22 months, that's way too long. If I had options, we didn't have options. So now we're getting back into the ring.
Do you think you knock Jose out? Personally, like looking
I mean,
your gut feeling?
At the end of the day, the statistics say he doesn't go past the 6 with a puncher, right? Maidana, Berto, Canelo got him out in 5. If I want to outshow everybody, I got to do it in 4, or less, But I love his confidence coming into this fight, and he's been through a lot in the sport of boxing. So you got to ask, he knows exactly what it's like to fight punchers and to fight champions of this caliber. Where's that confidence come from? He keeps saying the new trainer, what they're doing, how hard he's prepared for this fight. I think 15 years of being a pro, he feels like a bottle of wine that he's finally. This is the time you're supposed to open up the bottle. This is the time for Jose Cito Lopez to become champion. I'm going to see what kind of Jose Cito Lopez, what kind of opponent I have on the 26th. But I want to reestablish my skill set, and I want to reestablish some of my power, and I might even have to stop moving. It looks nice. I love watching. I just love watching them miss. I just love watching them miss. You know what I'm saying? But I might have to take a few to land a few just to get the show over early. We'll see. I mean, and this is one of those kind of fights. It can be that kind of fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
So you are putting it in your mind that you want to get him out of there by 4 to blow everyone else out what they've done before.
You got into my mind. You said, is you supposed to knock him out? Well, if I knock him out, the bookies are going to bet that it's by the 6th round because that's normally how it goes. And in the sport of boxing, we have a saying, everybody's strong for the first 4 rounds, okay? This is 12-round championship fighting, So everybody's strong for the first 4 rounds. So anytime a fighter stops another fighter within those first 4 rounds, that is making a big statement, because he didn't have time to die out. That man is still as strong as he was practically in the first round, in the 4th round. So, that's just my mind, how my mind analyzes that question, because we've already gone over it as a team. We want to make a statement. We'd like to get the knockout. Canelo did it to the body. Berto did it on the chin. How's Thurman going to do it? Where's he going to do it? What round am I going to do it? Does he even do it? So it just is what it is, man.
Keith, every time you break down a fight, it's usually correct, your predictions. Mikey's mentioned that he's taking the Errol Spence fight because he sees some flaws in him. That's why he took the fight. Mm-hmm. If I also ask you, what are those flaws that he sees in Errol Spence, knowing that you're a fighter?
Well, in football, I'm from, Tampa Bay. So we roll with the Buccaneers, And they ain't do nothing but that one year, boy, everybody was happy, But back in the day when I was watching the Bucs, we had Mike Allstott. And we used to always say, on 4th and 1, Mike Allstott is getting the ball. Doesn't mean you can stop him from getting that yard, man. You just because you know what's going to happen doesn't mean that you can do anything about it. Just because there's holes inside Swiss cheese doesn't mean that you can fill it, okay? So that's just the reality, man. And there's no such thing as a perfect fighter. Why do you think I got so many haters and this and that? Oh, Thurman this, Thurman that. Floyd had haters. Oh, Floyd does this, Floyd does that. Cool. Get in there and do something about it. Do something about it. Mikey is the smaller guy. You know, he does have a respectable punch. I think it still can be a respectable punch at 147 because a punch is a punch is a punch. You know, if you got that punch, you got that punch. And you normally can carry it up into weight. But it's more, is he going to land that punch? He didn't drop Adrian Broner. And Adrian Broner's not the biggest dude. And Adrian Broner's not the slickest and doesn't have the best defense, but he does keep his hands up pretty nice, you know. And I just don't like Mikey's competition prior to an Errol Spence, you know. It's not, you know, fighting those guys in lower weight classes and then jumping to the upper echelon of the welterweight division. I'd rather see Garcia versus Garcia, man, but he's been very adamant about this, and he's getting what he asked for, and we're going to see if he can live up to his word. You know, I told everybody, you know, he must have a magic trick up his sleeve, Penn and Teller fool us, because I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced, man.
Kid, being away from the sport due to injuries, what would you say is the biggest thing you learned about yourself or the sport of boxing?
Life sucks without boxing.
Keith, you mentioned, you know, you're from Tampa. By the end of the year, if you fight 3 times, could we see a homecoming?
See, so there's some truth in that, right? Well, that would be spectacular, actually, you know? Let's say I have this fight, Thurman reunifies, and then as the unified champion, something that I haven't been able to do, right? I won the unified title, never defended it. Never defended it, right? So reunify, possibly a hometown unified title defense, man. I would love to do that for my city. You know, I mean, we're fighting here in January. I almost wish we was in my city this fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But all I cared about, I wasn't focused on the venue. I wasn't focused on who, what, when, where, why, and how. I was just like, you know, put me in the game, coach. Put me in the game. I just want to be in the game, coach. You know, get off the bench, man. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be in front of you guys, man. It's been a long time, and I'm just excited to get back into this ring.
During your layoff, was there any fight you watched on the sidelines as a fan that just kind of got you hyped, like, man, I got to get back in there?
Nah, man.
No, you just want to get back in.
I mean, I can get back in because I want to get back in. You know, I mean, you know, what they do for their careers, and what I do for my careers, this is the life of an athlete. And boxing, you know, we're individuals. You know, there is no franchise, there is no team sport. You know, we're just individuals, man. So I'm striving to do the best I can with what I have when I have it. You know, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised nobody thanked me. Nobody came up and thanked me for relinquishing my belt. You know, Sean Porter and Danny Garcia wouldn't have fought last year if there was no title on the line. Why would they have fought? How could they fight a 12-round fight when they both aren't champions?
Yeah.
How can you make that fight? Huh? Can I get a thank you?
Thank
Oh, okay, cool. Appreciate that. You know, but now it's time to get it back. You know, I really wanted Danny to win the fight for the fans here. I just think it was more electric with Danny's crew, how close it is here to New York and everything. But I predicted Sean Porter was going to win the fight. You know, I know Sean very well. I've been in the ring with both of them, and I said it would be what it was, that somebody just needs to have that boy throw more punches, Danny Garcia. You know, just make him be a little bit more active if he wants to win at this level, at this stage of his career.
Keith, your reactions to Bob Arum's alleged offer to Danny Garcia $3 million to fight Bud Crawford. Do you think Bob Arum is willing to risk his golden goose to fight someone like Danny Garcia that you've been in the ring with?
Yes, it's a dangerous fight for Bud, but it's a winnable fight. Why? Danny don't throw no punches. You know what I mean? It's easy to beat somebody who throws 15 punches around, man. It's what I like to call the numbers game, right? We're at this level, we're all professional, elite athletes. But where is Danny's athleticism, right? We see it in a little bit of his awkward shoulder roll, his little awkward ducking and dodging, and we see the beauty of his boxing in his timing. Everybody knows Danny Garcia can time you. He can time you. But what about when he just needs to fight you? You know, he's not doing that. You know, and Crawford, he switches. He moves around the ring. He has great hand speed. And if you know Danny the way I know Danny, hand speed is intimidating for him. Almost more intimidating than power itself, okay? He doesn't like hand speed. He didn't like it with Amir Khan. He didn't like it with me. He didn't like it with Lamont Peterson. Don't matter. He don't like hand speed. And Terence Crawford has hand speed. So I think out of all the rolling of the dice and putting a gamble out there, yeah, you know, I think Bob Arum was comfortable with that call.
Do you think with that victory over Danny Garcia, let's say Bud beats him, it happens, would that be credible enough to put him in your top 3 147 fighters?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
You know, definitely. But, you know, like I said, man, but you still got the whole Porter issue. Porter beat him, and I think Porter's way more physical. I don't think it's the same fight if Bud fights Porter now. I'm not sure that Bud beats Porter, you know. I can lean towards Bud against Danny, and that's leaning because I only lean towards Sean because Danny is a puncher, boy. He's a puncher, man. He hit me in my arm. I couldn't raise it for 2 days after the fight.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I was like, you know, I was like, I'm glad, man, you know. And the way it felt, I was also happy that was my arm, because if it was my chin, I know that I wouldn't have been able to withstand that blow. Okay, there's only a limit, and when you produce power above a limit, it don't matter who you are. There ain't no, you know, glass this, you know, good jaw and this and that. A lot of times when you see fighters take good punches, some way somehow it wasn't a good punch. Some way somehow, like something got off of that punch. It just didn't stick. You know what I'm saying? Because when they stick, I mean, people drop, man.
Can you tell us something about the daily life of a boxer starting 1 month before the fight? How does your day look like usually?
You know, wake up, have, you know, a simple breakfast, you know, sometimes oatmeal. I've been eating pecans and bananas, real simple type breakfasts, and then head off to the gym. You know, give a little bit of time for the food to digest. You gotta plan your meals and your training. Everything has to be timed, right? And so you have the right time to take the meal. Then right after the meal, at the right time, you take your supplements. I take my supplements before the gym. So now I got substance and supplements. Now it's time to work out. So you work out, you know, you got to do some kind of warm up, whether it be jump rope or just moving around, little light shadow box or something. You got to do some warm up, got to do some stretching. And then it just depends on what kind of day is it. Is it a sparring day? We can do mid work today. We can do strength and conditioning, maybe a little bit of TRX, maybe a little bit of circuit training. I get real creative and just invent like weird circuits. I'll just be like, I'm doing this exercise. I'm gonna grab 25-pound weights. I'm gonna do this one. We're gonna do this and this. And I just make things up. And it's based off of what I want to activate, what kind of workout I want. Do I want a full body workout? Do I want just legs? Do I want upper body? Do I want to burn out my arms today? We're gonna do 1-2, 1-2s on the bag. Then, you know, we leave the gym. It's lunchtime, man. It's lunchtime. And you know, about 70% of the time, lunch is a salad. You know, we get some kind of salad. I got these nice vegan restaurants I go to in downtown St. Pete. I got this tuna salad that I like to get at this little Cubana place. They got these nice pressed Cubans that I'm not allowed to eat right now. You know what I'm saying? But I go in for the salad. I can still do that. Then after that, you know, we get a little bit of downtime. We get to rest. And approximately at that time, it's probably around my lunch, it's about 3 p.m. So then we get about 5 hours to rest before the late night cardio. And that always, at the start of camp, from the beginning, late night cardio is a minimum of 45 minutes. And it builds into an hour. And it's on some days when I want to push myself, we're doing 90 minutes.
You know that,
A breakdown of the Pacquiao-Broner fight that's coming up in 3 weeks.
I don't like that fight. You know, it's a hard one, man. It's a hard one to predict Adrian Broner. Who knows? Who knows what kind of emotional state he's going to be in, you know, how ready he's going to be, how bad he wants it. I love this fight for Broner, though. I really, 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 really love this fight for Broner because he's fighting an older Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao has always been a beatable fighter, somebody to, even if you don't beat him, you can compete with him, right? I feel like, you know, a lot of people have competed with Manny Pacquiao. I think Adrian Broner is also going to compete quite well against Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao being the southpaw and Adrian Broner's number one asset is that straight right hand. That can play a big role that night. It's the number one weapon against all southpaws with right-handed fighters, and that's his best punch, you know? And we know Floyd utilized it. It was one of Floyd's best punches as well. But as Manny being the southpaw, for me, it's just really up to AB. He is the younger fighter. I think he can be in superior strength and conditioning if he's up for it and be prepared to do something that he would not be able to do otherwise, which is finally put respect back on his name, you know? And people can be like, well, Manny was old. And that's like the only thing they're going to be able to say. Like, what else are they going to be able to say? They can't say nothing else, you know? And he's going to be like, and I still beat him. And we got paid, AB, about Billy's, blah, you know? Yeah, you know? So at the end of the day, man, I mean, this is just a tremendous opportunity for that man in his fight, in his career right now. And if I was him, I would step up to the plate and I would play ball and I would be trying to hit a home run, baby.
Keith, knowing that you're an undefeated fighter,
Last one. We'll make this the last.
Knowing that you're an undefeated fighter, when was the last time you actually lost in anything? Sports, a chess match? Like, when was the last time you actually lost in anything?
Yeah, it was probably a chess match.
Really? Against who? I mean, no.
See, that's a good one, man. That chess match
me.
was so
You lost to
long
me.
ago.
Beat you in Street Fighter.
Huh? No, I haven't lost a Street Fighter yet. No.
I'll play. I'll put money on it.
No.
Who do you like to use in Street Fighter? Who's your favorite character?
I don't know. It's Street Fighter. I don't know. It's been a long time I played. All of them? It depends, you know. I enjoy Akuma with that whole like air, hado, the whole and the dive kick, you know, and the Raging Demon, bro. The Raging Demon, you know, just light him up.
All right, you guys have gone. You're driven this car right into the ditch.
Someone autograph as far as you helping him in the gym and mentoring him?
Oh, he's just one of the young fighters that's still amateur. But what I love about Ricardo is that he listens to what I say. He picked up some techniques, very simple, basic technique, and it looks like he's been boxing for 5 years. And the kid hasn't been boxing for 5 years yet, you know. So I'm just very proud of that. I'm always proud when these fighters listen to the advice that I give because I'm trying to take care of that learning curve. You know, it takes a lot of time to learn the sport of boxing. But if you listen to an expert, you can simplify things and get there quicker, right? Like 13 years after boxing, I went back to my jab. You know, literally, I went back to the fundamentals and I had to relearn how to throw a jab because ultimately I never had an effective jab. I never had a scoring jab. My jab was always a rangefinder for my right hands and my left hooks, okay? So I really wanted to change that and establish, to make myself more well-rounded. Whatever you're good at, know that you're good at that. But you need to focus on what you're not good at. Like, I'll watch kids in the gym, watch them do their shadow boxing. 1 round goes by, 2 rounds go by. I'll be like, you know, in 2 rounds, you never threw 1 right hook to the body. You know, in 2 rounds, you never threw 1 uppercut, the left or the right. You know, I mean, that's 6 minutes, and there's 3 punches that you haven't thrown, so you're limiting yourself. You know, I'm just trying to get them to understand that they need to attack from all angles. And I look forward to actually working with him when I get back because I told him I figured out what kind of fighter he is. Every fighter is a little different, right? Some people are power guys. Some people have that right hand, and you can just tell them, like, look, man, believe in that right hand, boy, because believe that like you believe in God, boy. You know, that's a right hand to trust. You know, and there's fighters like that. You got fighters, they need to trust their left hook. You got fighters that throw punches and bunches and things like that. And right now, that's the kind of fighter Ricardo is. I told him, you're a combination fighter. You know, so I told him to watch my Zabic fight, where the first time I went 12 rounds, me and Dan, in preparation for that fight, I was throwing 125 punches on the mitts every round for 12 rounds, okay, on average. So I told him that's the kind of style that you seem to be developing, and it's a good style, but you need to know your style and how to perfect that style to get those W's.